I was promised Limp Bizkit. The going on?
Oh, no, I can't promise that.
Joined here by Trey Jones in the famous Man Cave in Longwood, Florida. We're going to talk about Swampfest. It's coming right up. What are our dates this year?
April 4th, 2020. So it's 4/4/2020.
You try to get 420 in there?
I had no idea until people brought it up whenever I posted the flyer, and I was like, oh, wow, I can't believe that actually worked out. So
before we dive into this year's event, you've done Swampfest for a few years now, and it's kind of grown into an animal. It's grown into a BMX destination that people from all over the world fly in to go to. One of the, if not the biggest high-profile events of the year, which is kind of ironic based on the way you built it up. Did you ever imagine it could be this big, and was that ever something you really wanted?
No, not at all. It all just started because my friend Jeff Honeycutt bought 10 acres, and he was like, hey, we should do a jam. And I was like, yeah, let's do it. And it just it turned into this thing where over 1,000 people showed up, and it just the next year, like, Ronnie Bonner and John Paul Rogers were like, you have to do it again. And I'm like, I can't do it again. Like, there's no way. And he was like, no, this is what you do. You get sponsors. You have to rent a venue, blah, blah, blah. And I've just learned every year about renting places and getting sponsors and starting a business and just all these things that BMX does not qualify you to do at all. But now it's gotten to the point where it's the 4th year, and I've gotten my groove, and I figured out what to do. And it gets a little bit easier every year because I'm like, okay, like, let's not put vans on the course for people to light on fire, and make sure that, this happens, and just all these certain things that I know what to do and what not to do. So it gets a little bit easier every year, but a little bit more work,
So it gets a little bit easier every year, but it absolutely gets bigger every year. Mm-hmm. Are you expecting this to be the biggest one so far?
Hopefully. The first one had like 1,200 people. Second one had like 2,100 people. The last one had 3,000 people. So I'm expecting in the 4,000 person range, hopefully. Like, because every person that comes, they come back next year with somebody else. You know what I mean? Like, it's never like the numbers go down. It always grows and grows and grows. And now it's to the point where it's like there's so much hype built up behind it that it has to live up to that hype,
Does that put pressure on you?
Kinda, I guess. I never like, I never go, oh my God, this is really important and it has to be crazy, because I have a bunch of insane ideas all the time, but it's just pulling them off. It's like, okay, like, yeah, it would be cool to have a rail that did a loop through a lake full of fire. Or like, yeah, like I can think of that. I can think of that shit all day long. Like that's not the hard part. It's just the hard part is going, okay, like, what is doable? Like, okay, we should do a loop that goes both ways into an open loop. Okay, how do we build that? Is that even possible to build? Like, in just figuring out how to take the crazy ideas and make them possible, and like make them to where nobody's gonna like literally die. You know what I mean? Like, I don't care if like somebody breaks an arm or something like that, but I don't want to see somebody get paralyzed. Like, there's a point where it's like it reaches like scary and just straight up a death trap.
Are there any ideas coming into this year's event that you can hint us in on what's going to happen here?
Do you remember when Rooftop was on Stunk Junkies?
Was he on fire?
No, he was grinding a rail and he was upside down.
Was it when he grinded the rail that was like a lip and he flipped into the ditch? It was cover of Ride?
No, it was like a loop.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Yep.
There will be something like that.
Will there be a rooftop there?
I gave him an invite, so it's up to him if he shows up or not.
Okay, how about anything else? We got alligators?
There will be an alligator there. I know that for a fact. There will be a Swampfest beer collab happening this year. There will be Vans Swampfest shoes. There will be a swamp rail. There'll be dirt jumps. There'll be pallet ramps. There will be a pallet loop. There's going to be all types of cool stuff.
You haven't actually started the build yet, and you have all these crazy ideas in your head. So when it actually comes to bringing them to life, do you really know what you're going to do out there, or do you have to get out there and start playing with these materials?
Both. Like, I have, it's literally a huge flat square field right now, so it's literally wide open for what's possible. I have, each brand gets an obstacle, so it's kind of up to the brand of like, hey, like, what do you guys want to do? Okay, we want a loop. Okay, what kind of loop? I don't know. What do you think? I don't know. I'm thinking this. And then we just kind of it just kind of happens. Mad Mike, I'm working with him for the GT obstacle. I've been working with the Source on the Loop. I've been working with Colt on theirs. Shadow, they're obviously doing some type of coffin thing. Sabrosa's getting their rail. So it's kind of just like, okay, I have these 3 or 4 obstacles in mind. How do we fill in the gaps and make it crazy? You know what I mean? And I kind of just wing it. Like I kind of just start going. I start building and I'm like, yo, that would be sick if there was another extension that went over this. And it's like, okay, yeah, let's do it. So, but like I said, it gets easier every year. Like I know how much wood I used last year. So I'm like, okay, let's get a little bit more because we know that we used that last year and we can start from there, and just I kind of just let people come out and just build whatever they want, honestly. Like we just kind of have an eyeball of what we want to do and just rolling with it.
Is it still fun for you?
Oh yeah, it's the best. I love it. There's nothing out there that BMX is my whole life, like my whole existence is BMX, whether it be, I met my wife through BMX. Like I have this house through BMX. I know all my friends through BMX. So like anything involving in BMX, I love it. And it's like, I just keep trying to create the event that I always wanted to go to. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, Texas Toast was awesome, but there was things I would change. Or like, oh, Routine was awesome, but there was things I would change. You know what I mean? So now it's just like there's obviously crazier ideas that I want to happen. It's just figuring out what's a reality and like trying to make those dreams a reality. I know it sounds super cliche and super weird, but it is true. Like I'm just trying to go to the event I always wanted to go to.
I've put on events before, nothing to the extent of Swampfest, obviously. But I know right around that 2 and 3 year mark, it becomes a lot of work. And I'd kind of get burned out. And I've seen it happen with other events. Seen it with Texas Toast.
Yeah.
How long was it? 3 or 4 years?
Yeah.
Do you think you have the steam to keep this going?
Yeah, forever. I have no end in sight. Like that's like my main thing that I don't want to happen. I don't want to have a 5-year run and be done just because it's too much work. Like I said, like I'm a professional BMX rider. Like pouring my heart into something that's BMX, that's my job. You know what I mean? Like that's what I do. And it's like especially now that like I walk away with it and it's like. I want to make kids lifelong BMX riders. Like I'm not trying to award somebody $90,000 or whatever. I'm trying to make a lifelong BMX rider out of a kid and make them on a BMX
that works for 50 years to make $90,000.
Yeah, exactly, exactly. Like that's like this is for the working class. This is for like the real shit. Like this is for the real dudes. Like this isn't full like, Van Humming and Gary Reynolds show up and guess what? They're on the same platform as a 9-year-old kid that just got his first bike. You know what I mean? Like we're all equal. Like there's nobody that has a special wristband that can get behind the scenes. Like we're all behind the scenes. Like it's all the same thing. And that's like my main priority. Like I want to make sure that the event stays for the working class, for like the real people in BMX. And like, I want everybody to enjoy it. Like I want X Games gold medalists to be there. I want everybody to be there because we're all doing the same thing. And like, it's about the culture of BMX and it's about the friendship and the brotherhood and like all that stuff. And that's my main goal. So
for those who want to come out, is the airport Orlando?
Yes. Orlando Airport.
Is there camping? What's the accommodations like in 2020?
Yeah. Tent camping as much as many spots are available. The gates open at 8 a.m. on Friday. Camping, it goes through the entire weekend and everybody has to be out on Sunday morning. Orlando International Airport is the closest airport. There's tons of stores and stuff within the area. There'll be beer and food sold on site, so there is no reason that you would have to leave and for any other reason than the hospital.
Hotels nearby.
Irrelevant. You can stay on site. Why would you get a hotel?
You said while it's available. I thought it would if it gets full.
No, it reaches 10. We can handle 15,000 people. So I highly doubt if we get to that point, then I don't even know what I would do. I would freak out. But no, their town of Wildwood has gas stations and hotels and all that stuff.
And that's how far is this from the town of Wildwood?
It's in Wildwood, so it's
fantastic.
Yeah, it's like 1 mile off the interstate, so there's tons of stuff all over the place.
So for those who have never been to a Swampfest, why should 2020 be their first?
Because it's gonna be badass and awesome.
That's a good enough reason for me.
If you Google Swampfest and you watch it and you're like, yeah, I'm not going to that, then don't come. Please do. If you watch a video of Swampfest and you said that you're not going, please do not show up. Like, your kind is not welcome at this event. I'm just kidding. Anybody can come. But yeah, man, I don't know. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be bigger, better, louder, bigger fire, better jumps, more pallet ramps, more everything. It's going to be great. I'm so excited. So, yeah.